I thought he was just having a bad reaction to a bee sting. His muzzle was puffed up like a balloon and he wouldn't stop whining. But the second the CT scan loaded, the vet's expression changed. She backed away and whispered, "We have a serious problem." What they found inside him wasn't natural, and it definitely wasn't an accident. But before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. Max's face swelled more with every passing second. I had to do something fast. I rushed him to the small neighborhood vet clinic, my heart pounding every moment we were on the road. He gazed up at me with those big, sad eyes, and I couldn't help but feel scared. I knew I had to stay focused for him. Once we arrived, I hoped the vet could ease my worries. Walking into the clinic, it seemed like everyone decided today was a good day for a vet visit. The waiting room was packed, dogs barked, cats hissed, and people sat with worried faces. I held Max close, trying to keep him calm. Each tick of the clock felt like forever. I just wanted someone to take a look at him and tell me everything would be all right. I approached the reception, trying to stay patient. "Max's face is swollen, maybe a bee sting," I explained, voice shaky. The receptionist nodded and typed away, promising someone would see us soon. As I sat back, I glanced at Max. His whines cut through the chatter of the room. I rubbed his head, whispering, "Hang in there, buddy." My mind raced with worries about allergic reactions. After what felt like hours, I heard Max's name called. Relief washed over me as I gently lifted him, following the assistant to an examination room. The walls were lined with posters of happy pets, and the faint smell of antiseptic hung in the air. I could finally breathe, knowing Max would get the help he needed. I just hoped it wasn't too serious. Dr. Lane walked in with a reassuring smile, instantly making me feel a bit better. She bent down, petting Max softly. "Let's see what's going on with you, little guy," she said warmly. Her presence was calming, like she truly cared about him. It was comforting to know he was in good hands. Watching her with Max, I felt a slight flicker of hope. Dr. Lane started by asking about Max's symptoms. I explained how his face puffed up earlier and how he hadn't stopped whining. She listened closely while carefully examining his swollen cheeks. Her attention to detail was impressive, and I could see her mind working. It felt good to have someone so focused on understanding what was happening to my poor Max. As Dr. Lane examined Max, I noticed a frown form on her face. She gently prodded the swollen areas with thoughtful fingers. I felt my heart skip a beat. Seeing her concerned was unsettling. I watched, almost holding my breath, desperate for some insight. I couldn't shake the feeling that this might not be a simple allergic reaction after all. The room was quiet except for Max's occasional whimpers. Dr. Lane's serious expression made my anxiety spike. Her eyes darted over his face as if piecing together a puzzle. Each quiet second felt like it stretched on forever. "I need to run some tests," she finally said, breaking the silence. Her calm voice tried to mask the concern, but I could still feel it. With a reassuring glance, Dr. Lane explained, "This could be an allergic reaction, but I'd like to do some checks to be sure." Her words were measured and professional, but they couldn't fully hide her worry. I nodded, agreeing instantly. She gave Max another soft pat, promising it wouldn't take long. I couldn't help but feel a growing worry that something more serious was happening. Dr. Lane looked at me seriously and said, "I think it's best we do a blood test to figure out what's going on with Max." I nodded, wanting nothing but the best for him. His big, sad eyes seemed to agree. She explained it wouldn't take long, and I felt a bit of relief knowing we were taking steps to help him. I just needed to know Max was going to be okay. As we moved to the lab area, Max seemed to know something was up. He whimpered softly, but the technician was gentle as she drew a sample of his blood. "It's okay, buddy," I murmured, rubbing his head gently. Dr. Lane gave me a comforting nod. I knew this was just another step in figuring out what was wrong, but every moment felt heavy. We sat in the dim exam room, my anxiety growing with every passing second. The only sound was Max's soft whining, his discomfort evident. I tried to distract myself with the colorful posters of smiling dogs around the room, but my mind kept wondering about his condition. Were we dealing with something serious? Time seemed to stretch, my worries wrapping around each minute. Finally, Dr. Lane returned, entering the room with her usual calm demeanor. Though her face was expressionless at first, I hoped she had good news. "We've got some results," she said, holding the papers. My heart skipped a beat, hanging on every word. Each second of her pause felt like an eternity, and I leaned in, craving clarity about Max's situation. Dr. Lane explained the test results were inconclusive, which meant we still didn't have a solid answer. "It's best to check further," she suggested, looking at Max with concern. His continuous whimpering told us there was more to uncover. My heart was heavy with worry, but I knew this was necessary. She leaned down gently, checking Max's face again, trying to piece it all together. "I think we should get an X-ray," Dr. Lane advised, adding it might give us a better understanding of what's troubling Max. Agreeing wholeheartedly, I nodded, wanting to get to the bottom of this. We moved to prepare for the X-ray, and Max squirmed nervously in my arms. I reassured him softly, trying to mask my concern. The technicians were kind, explaining the process gently as we switched rooms. The technician positioned Max carefully, whispering calm words. Dr. Lane returned and explained they were trying to determine the cause of the swelling. Her calm demeanor helped ease my spiraling thoughts. "Hopefully, it'll show us what the X-rays missed," she said. A knock on the door startled us. A technician entered with a clipboard, her expression serious. "We found something on the X-ray," she said carefully. My stomach tightened. Dr. Lane pointed to the screen. "There's something unusual showing up," she said, gesturing to a faint, reflective area beneath Max's skin. Her tone was composed, but the concern was evident. "We definitely need a closer look," she added. Her decisiveness was grounding, and I trusted her completely. The technician handed over consent forms for the CT scan, explaining the procedure again. I signed them with a sense of urgency, each pen stroke a small act of hope. I stood there, watching them disappear down the hall, feeling both relieved and anxious. It was strange not having Max by my side, and all I could do now was wait hoping the scan would finally reveal what we needed to know. The minutes seemed to crawl by as I sat in the bustling waiting room, the world moving around me while I remained still. I glanced at the door repeatedly, hoping it would open for us. Finally, after what felt like hours, Dr. Lane called me in. "Sorry for the wait," she said kindly. My heart jumped. What were they going to say? "It's complicated," she continued. "There's something unusual we picked up, and I want to be thorough." I nodded, though I felt like I was trying to hold water in my hands' details, slipping away in the pressure of the moment. I just needed to know what mattered most. Max. "Have you seen anything strange with Max lately?" she asked. Dr. Lane listened, but I could see she had her doubts not in my care, but in how easily signs can be missed. She shared stories about other pets, cases where symptoms went unnoticed. I appreciated the empathy in her voice, even as worry grew inside me. Then she turned the screen toward me, showing Max's CT scan. She pointed to one spot with her pen. "This is what caught our attention," she said. There, nestled in Max's tissue, was something small and out of place. It didn't make sense, yet here we were, looking at a tiny, structured shape on the scan hidden beneath fur and swelling. Dr. Lane pointed gently to the bump. "See this here?" she asked. Dr. Lane's voice grew more serious as she leaned in to emphasize the urgency. "We need to address this quickly," she said. Hearing it aloud struck a deeper chord, forcing me to abandon any lingering bee-sting theories. My instincts kicked in. I nodded, trusting her judgment. As the weight of the situation settled in, I studied Dr. Lane reviewing the images. Despite her professional calm, I caught a flicker of concern in her eyes. "Whatever's inside Max is foreign," she said, her voice cutting through the quiet. My mind raced. How could something lodge itself inside him without us ever knowing? The questions multiplied, but I stayed focused on one goal helping. Max Dr. Lane sprang into action, arranging more in-depth scans to better identify the object. "We'll figure this out," she promised. Her confidence anchored me, offering a sense of hope amid uncertainty. The clinic buzzed with activity, footsteps and voices echoing through the halls. I sat quietly, thoughts swirling, eyes fixed on Max's resting form. He lay nestled on a cozy blanket the staff had laid out, watching the door with quiet anticipation. I stroked his side, whispering, "You're safe, buddy." At last, Dr. Lane returned, her face composed but firm. "We've got some new information," she said. The air shifted as she sat across from me. "I understand what this means to both of us," she added gently. "This situation goes beyond simple, easily fixable ailments," she admitted. Her honesty was both unsettling and comforting, a reminder Max was in good hands. Each new piece of uncertainty pulled us deeper into a puzzle. Still, Her calm presence offered hope amid the chaos surrounding Max's condition. She explained the tests and the possible risks of removing the foreign object. "It's tricky," she said, choosing her words carefully, "but we need to understand what it is first." Her tone was firm but compassionate. I appreciated the clarity, even as fear tightened in my chest. We were making decisions together, carefully, for Max's sake. "Each next step must be taken with precision," she continued. As I sat there, a troubling thought surfaced. Could something from one of our walks have caused this? Had we missed a hidden danger in the park? Dr. Lane opened the files, tension thick in the air. I leaned forward, hoping for answers. Standing beside her, I watched as the scans revealed their truths. Patterns and shapes on the screen blurred into something deeply unsettling. Dr. Lane stared silently at the images, her thoughts clearly racing. I glanced at Max, still curled peacefully on the table. She turned toward me with a serious expression that made my pulse quicken. "We found something troubling," she said. Her voice was steady, but her eyes carried the weight of what was to come. "What we found isn't accidental," she continued. "Whoever implanted the tracker in Max likely had criminal intentions." The words hit like a punch. A tracker in Max? My heart raced with disbelief and anger. This went beyond illness. It was something darker. Dr. Lane acted quickly. "This needs to be reported," she said, dialing the authorities. Her decisiveness stirred something in me. If there was a chance Max had been used by someone for something awful like illegal dogfighting, it had to be stopped. Then I made a decision. "If Max pulls through, I'm adopting him," I said quietly, but with certainty. Dr. Lane gave an approving nod. He'd been through enough. If I could give him peace and safety, I would. Soon after, police arrived, responding swiftly to Dr. Lane's call. They moved professionally, listening closely to her findings and examining the evidence. Her quick thinking was crucial, one officer said. I stood silently, filled with gratitude and admiration. Max had been a silent link to something bigger, something dangerous. Now, thanks to Dr. Lane, he was finally safe, and through him, maybe others would be too.